Hello, and welcome to this Sunday update on Bitcoin. Today I've brought a simplified chart with me. I just want to talk about the scenarios we're tracking here on this simplified chart because I think it can sometimes be a bit overwhelming when we really dive into the microstructures. We will take a look at the microstructures here as well, but I wanted to start with this chart here. Yeah, without any moving averages or stuff, we talked about them a lot already. More about the different scenarios from an Elliott Wave point of view. I'd say we start with the most bearish one, not because it's necessarily the most likely one, because this is the one that I've been highlighting for a while, and it is the one that needed everybody's attention because the risk was so high. So from a risk management point of view, for some it might have made sense to focus on this, but obviously it's not confirmed yet, but I'll tell you when it's confirmed. In this scenario, which is the white scenario, we are possibly in a much larger wave 4 correction. I think in this scenario, there's even the potential for a multi-year bear market. I said it many times, and I'm not even sure if this support area will be enough. But this all will only become clearer as we go along the process. So this is not a target area. Sometimes people see these charts and they think I've already given a target for the let's say for the next bear market, which I haven't. I mean, it says clearly estimate, and it's just really a first box on just a standard Fibonacci support zone, not even a target area, based on the distance of the rally from the November low 2022 to the top, to the last high, yeah? So it's just a standard support zone, it's an estimate, it should be very clear. But what I've been highlighting for a while is that we have a 5-wave move to the upside. So it's a full wave count, and Elliott Wave with that gave us already in December 24, the videos are out there, guys, already in December 24, a warning that a top might be in. But I wanted to see another high, and that happened. I wanted to see it reach 130K, which didn't quite happen, which might still happen, we'll talk about that. But overall, I mean, regardless of, had we seen top here, or obviously this might be the top now, the wave count is full. Now, something I've been stressing again and again is just a full wave count does not confirm a major top. It just doesn't, right? It just doesn't. It's just, so I haven't called the top, but I'm not someone, who's like calling tops or something necessarily. Well, I have done in 2021, you guys know that. I did that already in November or December 21. Most people were still bullish then. This time it seems different. This time most people seem to be bearish. I don't know, but or maybe it's mixed. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you think we've seen it? Oh yeah, that would be interesting. Sentiment check. Let me know in the description. No, in the comment section if you think we've already seen the top for this cycle and we're now entering at least a 1 year long bear market. That'd be interesting. Last time I checked, it was like 50-50 nearly. I think a few more people expected still another all-time high. But in this scenario, the top could be in. So that's at least a warning, and that's what traders act on. The macro risk was and is still very high. Now it's reduced now with the price dropping like 25%, right? Which isn't even a major correction for Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to unpack all of this again. We talked about it many times, but these recent corrections were like 35 to 30%, yeah, in August 24 and into April 25. So this isn't even a major correction. You might hear the dog in the background. This isn't even a major correction at this point, even though it might feel like that. But it's not even, it's not even a major correction. But it's important to understand that the distance of the rallies has reduced. So it was quite substantial, a bit smaller, even smaller. Okay, but the correction, this was like I think 35, 25 so far. Just something to keep in mind. Okay. So we also only have a 3-wave move down so far, so it's not an impulse down. If we get a 5-wave move down at some point, this would be further confirmation that really a substantial top is formed, but really it will only become clear in the next bounce. If this is a 3-wave bounce, yeah, then, well, it will likely set up for lower prices. And this B-wave could even overshoot to new all-time highs. It could. There could be a new bounce to new all-time highs, and sometimes when prices don't reach ideal targets, for example in the actual 5th wave, it can be that there will be an overshooting B wave. It's impossible to predict. It is just something to be prepared for, okay? So it's just something I want to prepare everybody for. There could be an overshooting B wave. This is part of it. This could happen even if we've topped already that overshooting B wave, either in this circle B or maybe even in the white B wave is possible. It is impossible to predict. It will likely depend a little bit on the microstructures that are forming, but it is impossible to predict. It's just something to be prepared for. Now, I've recently bought BTC. I mentioned that on Discord. And why have I done that if we could have topped? Well, it's simply because I think it's the first time that I've bought since March or February, and the daily RSI is oversold. And so my idea was that, hey, you know, it kind of makes sense because we're now oversold on the daily. Whenever that happens, it's kind of my rule to add a little bit. Doesn't mean it's a massive position or something, but I speculate that this B wave could start soon. So a B wave bounce, and then we can get a C wave down from there, and so on. And this could be essentially the bear market structure, right? So the bottom line is, I'm not calling yet for a bear market, but it is possible it started, absolutely. That's why I gave you seasonalities and everything, and those, you know, you remember those posts when I showed you guys how the cycle is unfolding, that we're basically now in that time window where a top could form. However, I am not necessarily subscribing to the 4-year cycle so much. It is something I observe with interest, but I assume it will fail at some point. We don't technically need the 4-year cycle. What we have the Elliott Wave structures, and they are actually enough. Everything else is just kind of nice to observe. Maybe we can consider it for context, but it's not necessarily anything I would use to predict markets necessarily. Okay, these structures always come first. So anyway, we are still in a correction anyway. Whether this is the bear market or not, it's a correction at the moment, but we've reached a first support area, which is between 83K and 96K. So we're now in that one. We might go a little bit lower in this A wave and then could get a bounce in the B wave before we go down lower in the C wave. And then down here, we will get a decision if this is really this major bear market or you could say a smaller scale bear market in which we're just forming an ABC structure in a 1-2 setup, and maybe a test of 56 or 44K will be enough. I don't think in the major bear market that will be enough. I think we might go lower, maybe even to 24 to 34K. Yeah, but we don't know that yet, right? But I think this is, at least for me personally, an interesting time to add some positions, smaller. I think if we get closer to 83K, I'll add more with more size. If we get there in a direct fashion. But either way, this will be an interesting time to buy because there should be a B wave at least, and maybe a direct breakout in the third wave in the orange scenario. Okay, so these are the two main scenarios. Now there are two ways how the market could still reach all-time highs. I think there are actually more, but these are the two main ones I'm following at the moment. The first one I already talked about, a high B wave, can happen, yeah. But yeah, it can happen. It can happen. If that happens, the C wave might not even go down that much. It's something to keep in mind. The other scenario, which I haven't shown here yet, is actually the scenario in which this fifth wave extends, right? And we have something like quite an aggressive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a possibility which could play out. I've also seen wave counts about diagonal patterns, which could also play out here. They are very similar. So there is still scope for a rally to all-time highs. And this is the first support zone to watch. So we're now testing the first larger support zone on the weekly and daily charts. And I'm watching this with interest. Now, sometimes people mix up the different wave count on time frames. This is the weekly chart. And here, I think we are rather closer to a low than many people think. I don't think we've bottomed yet necessarily. Okay, I don't think we've bottomed yet, and that potential that I showed you for all-time highs, I think it will reduce in this more aggressive upside scenario I just showed you if we break below the April low, and this would also confirm further that the bear market has started, 74.5K. Technically, we won't know before that. But do we need to know? That's the thing, because the trend is down anyway in the short term, right? I don't think we can know. I mean, maybe the B wave bounce will give us a hint, okay? So for me, I said yesterday in one of the videos, for me it's too early to confirm the bear market has started, right? But that's still kind of, I still have, as you know, I've been cautious for the last half year or so. Still bullish, right? Macro bullish anyway. But yeah, I'm just watching this pivot now. Very, very interesting, because we are so oversold on the daily. I think it can go down a little bit lower though, especially considering the corrections that we've had in this cycle before. Now, I think that hopefully gives you a good idea where things could be going. Now let's also take a look at the shorter time frame for BTC. And this is just micro patterns. Okay, here we talk about micro patterns. You see, by the way, here this support areas, everything zoomed in. That just showed you between roughly 83K and 96K. As I said, we've just entered this support zone. And we're tracking here the potential for maybe a short-term bounce here on Sunday, yeah. And this might happen before the weekly close. I mean, I talked about it yesterday. We had a micro support zone here. If you watched the video, then you know that. We had a micro support zone right between 94,670 and 95,726. A micro support zone to which we've now seen even a reaction. And it does look a bit like a micro 5-wave move up in wave 1. Possible flat correction in wave 2. So this is a possibility, okay? But only really as long as the overnight low holds at 94,830. And I don't see it as a high probability setup, okay? Because this is not going with the main trend. The main trend is down at the moment. And also because this initial bounce was a 3-wave move, which means at best this should be an A, B, C structure from a current perspective, okay? But the C wave could take the price higher towards 98, maybe even 99.5K. We get there, we'll also break above the 55-week EMA, which would be nice. Could we break above 100K before the weekly close? Yeah, but that would be quite ambitious, I think, right? But this is what I'm watching, so that support zone hasn't changed. You might remember that in yesterday's update I said, well, this is the point from where a bounce should occur, right? If we get it. And so, yeah, because we had an ABC down, and then the C wave was 5 waves. So it was the spot to watch. It started, but this is weak. I mean, weekend order books are smaller, right? They are weaker, less liquidity, less money for a pump. Yeah, so less liquidity for a pump. But that is still an idea I have. I'd say if we break below the overnight low, it becomes more probable we'll get a more direct sell-off, but it still looks a bit more like a 3-wave move down. Could even reset that B wave. It's just ranging essentially, right? I just try to help you understand a little bit about the structure, but this is just ranging for now here, weekend range. This is the support area, and should we lose support, should we break below the Friday low, which I expect not necessarily directly, we could get a bounce first, but I think lower is still possible and actually likely, then we could maybe find support in the 90 to 91K area. I think there's also a CME gap down there. That should give you all the relevant levels here. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in additional updates, I invite you to join us on X as well for additional charts, updates, news, and much more. There are also some additional updates, sometimes faster than here on YouTube. And today we've got we've got our member live stream at 5 p.m. UTC. But before that, we've got a full public live stream as well at 4. So an hour before 4 p.m. UTC. It's all scheduled already on YouTube here. Check it out, and I'll see you there. Thanks so much. I wish you a great Sunday. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for watching the videos on this YouTube channel. If you've been thinking about joining MCO as a member, now might be a great time. You can use the link in the video description and apply the discount code right below it. You will get 50% off your first month of our Gold membership, and you can explore everything we offer. It's the easiest way to test the membership, see if it's a good fit for you, and get a feel for the community, join the conversation, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in our member area.